Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Ooh, losing my voice already. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the One Man Low Council and episode 187 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast. Hope everyone is doing swimmingly on this Tuesday. I personally have a day off tomorrow, so I'm very happy. Have a day to rest the voice, do some work around the house. It's one of the perks, if there are any real perks that we can talk about during this time of quarantine and sickness and masks and all the nonsense. We do get off a random Wednesday a month, and that has been quite nice. It's always good to have a little bit of a break. So let's go ahead and say hello to some people before diving into some of the box office information. Yes, we finally have some box office information. Despite the fact that Warner Brothers has been trying to hide some of that said box office information, we do still have enough to have some pretty good ideas about whether or not movies are going to be able to have a full-fledged return this year, or if we could expect Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, all the major studios to potentially move a lot of their films firmly into the year 2021, because some of the films that have been released so far, especially the big budget ones, have potentially lost a crap ton of money. But we'll dive all into that, and also some of the things that some of the pundits and some of the experts, so-called experts, seem to be forgetting and seem to be leaving out in many different ways. But before we do, let's say hello to my D-Laugh fam first off. And so let us go ahead and dive into Captain Adam and the Clan is in the chat. How's it going? Philly the Hobbit's in the chat as well. How is it going? We also got Captain Mr. Roy in the chat. We've also got ZK-Man. How's it going, ZK-Man? Glad to see you back here, ZK-Man. So Mr. Roy and ZK-Man were both featured on the stream on Sunday. For all those that were able to join us for the Chosen of Valhalla stream, it was a ton of fun. And we also talked about some very important things towards the end as well. If you are looking for it, it has indeed been unlisted because we did talk about some pretty deep, heavy things. And I am not sure if everyone on the panel wants that to be publicly on the channel or not. And so the link is still out there. So it's not like it's been hidden or deleted or anything. If you have the link for it, so if you're on the Discord, the link is there. And I will definitely be putting it into the playlist, which it should still up even if it's unlisted in a playlist. But if anyone's wondering where episode 186 of the podcast is, that is where it currently is living. Because it did get a little bit heavy towards the end, which was important for us to go through. It's important for us to say out loud. But again, I just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with that being where it is. So let me go ahead and dive into the YouTube chat. We got Brian Barth at 513. So a couple hours before the show starts. Lord Toth, Slicer Neons, Nebraska Because. How is it going? And Nebraska Because made a comment here that I wanted to point out. He says, did you all check out the YouTube channel Odin shouted out on Friday Night Tights, Greta Zenner? Her channel is excellent for film buffs. Once she starts uploading regularly, she will have a good following. Yeah, seriously, shout out to every person from the Friday Night Tights crew, from the Asgardian crew, any crew that you're a part of. Thank you so very much for subscribing to Greta's channel. She honestly has been blown away by the level of support and love being shown to her. And she actually was able to surpass 1,000 subscribers today. So just earlier today, she officially passed 1,000 subs. And I think now she's up to around like 1,002 or 1,200 or something like that. Like, she's doing very well. So shout out to every single person out there for subscribing to her channel. And yes, she's planning on doing more videos. And it's always good to have that foundation and that base, because even though not every one of those new subs is likely to stick around, that's just kind of the nature of YouTube anyway. It's good to have that foundation to build on. And plus, reaching the 1,000 sub milestone now puts her in a position where, as long as she can get some of those watch hours in, she could potentially get monetized. And that obviously always helps just a little bit more as well. And so hopefully she'll maybe do some live streaming as well to thank the people, because I think that she'll be shown a lot of love as she does. Orange Chat Reviews, how is it going, good sir? He's a member on the channel. 646 says, hoping that Tenet gets a bit more in the box office. Mulan can wither for anyone who cares. How are you, Odin? I'm doing just fine. And yes, indeed. I definitely believe and agree with that sentiment. Lord Toth, as I mentioned before. Golden Ration in the chat tagged me and says, good evening, Odin. Good evening, all. Hello, Golden Ration. We got Father Christopher Miller. Hail to you, Father. Glad to see you here. Max Anderson. Tina B., the Empress of the Universe, is here as well. Lord Toad says, dinner. We'll be back. Hi, everyone. We'll enjoy your dinner, please. And Tina B, thank you indeed for letting everyone know. If you have a comment or question, just type Odin question, all one word together, Odin question. It'll highlight orange on my screen, and it will let me know you're trying to get my attention. So there it is. Chat reviews. Mark Lisseth, what's going on, Mark? How's it going? JRoar123 Soul Assassin in the chat as well. Hope you're all doing well. Joe Bag of No Nuts in the chat. Miami Eddie, what's going on, Miami Eddie? I feel like it's been a while. Glad to see you back in the chat, good sir. We've got ZK-Man over there as well. Says, I'm only here to hit the like button. Then I will go back to my room in the attic. I mean, D-Live. Yes, that is right. ZK-Man, one of the D-Live fam. Thank you for stopping by in the YouTube chat as well. Slash Neon says, Hail Mary. It is indeed the Feast of Our Lady of Sorrows or Our Lady of the $7, depending on what time in history you're coming from. But both are indeed accurate titles for her. So yes, indeed, Hail Mary. GMonkey76 in the chat as well. Tina B tagged and says, yes, you will see, or rather, I will see the comment if you put Odin question. Yes, indeed. And also said, Greta's a sweetheart. I've been following her for a while. She really is. And again, as I've said constantly, even on my channel before I shouted out on Friday Night Tights, I've been a fan of her channel, ever since she started, because I love film history and I love the way that she approaches it. And it's always very engaging. She has very good style with her edits. It's not just random quick cuts or just a bunch of quick cuts either. And so for me, it's a pretty engaging material. It's also videos where it's not overly long. It's not where she puts too much information in or information that you wouldn't care about. It's all relevant. And she does her research. And again, I really do appreciate that as someone that loves film history, who appreciates the fact that she does that research. And so I'm very happy to see that her channel is getting so much love. And I think just the video that she made was just so perfect because it just really encapsulated who she actually is. That's not a front, that's not an act. Like, that is honestly who she is. She is just, again, a genuinely good, a genuinely nice person. And so just to be able to see that everyone being able to see that's who she really is has been really awesome. So Keck44, what's going on? John Burkett in the chat as well. John Burkett's been a while. Bruce, glad to see you in the chat, good sir. He's also a member on the channel. Very, very glad to see you here. All right, the chat has already jumped on me like it typically does. So thank you very much for being here and for being supportive of the channel. If you would please smash that like button. We got 53 people watching. Smash that like button if you don't mind. It really does help out a lot. All right. Let us see where we left off in the YouTube chat. Max Anderson, how's it going? 13th Warrior in the chat. Brian Barth, as I said before, has been in the chat for a while. Let's see. Father Christopher Miller says, day off from school. It's not a holy day tomorrow. We had holy days off. That would be nice. I wish we had holy days off. Though, of course, nowadays, every holy day is, it seems, is moved to Sunday. So it's even if we did have holy days off, we would not get too many because I feel like most of them are typically moved in a given year, which bothers me. I'd rather things stay where they are, So what if it makes us have to go to mass another day? That's a good thing. We're making it too easy for kids and for adults, especially adults nowadays. By the way, Riff Magos, thank you very much for the $5 donation via Streamlabs. Thank you very much for donating to Streamlabs and not to YouTube. Says, Hail Odin, busy day for me between birthday and work, but I had to stop to share some love. Be well. Well, happy birthday to you, Riff Magos. Happy birthday to Riff Magos. Thank you again for the support, for the love, and hope you have a wonderful birthday. I appreciate it. Nathan Slay says, good evening. Hello, General Wingster. Odin Numbers blog has returned. Damn right it has. Damn right. CWD Trixie in the chat as well. How is it going? Robert Frey in the chat as well. Nathan Slay Tanner says, I will find an odd satisfaction if Black Widow moves out of 2020. It'll be the first year since 2009 where we don't have a single MCU movie. Is that really the case? Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where this year has just been such a crap fest. I assumed we had one in the beginning of the year, but seeing that all this quarantine stuff started around February, March, really wasn't enough time for a Marvel MCU film to come out. So that would be interesting. And I think there's a very good chance Black Widow will indeed move. I think there's a good chance you could see Soul potentially move as well. Because right now they're looking at films like Tenet and especially Mulan. That's what Disney's focusing on is Mulan. And Mulan is really set to lose a lot of money, like lose a crap ton of money. When you look at how much money they put into the film, how little money it's making, and how when they decided to put all this money and to put all of their trust into China, and they get so little from that investment anyway, it just boggles the mind. It really does. Because even if this was a regular year, and they put all that money into China and expected money back in return, they only get, what, 25%-ish of the entire box office in China because of the commies. So to me, it's like, why is it even worth it? Because if you make $200 million, okay, that's still chump change. You only get 25% of that. I don't get it. It makes no sense. But you know what's good? I'm glad that they're failing, and I'm glad that the media is finally starting to cover this as well. In fact, it's interesting because my students are working on a project right now where they are dealing with a variety of moral issues. And one of the moral issues that many of them have in the various classes specifically is with genocide. And it was awesome because they were doing research. They were actually doing, using online resources and using like credible online resources, well-researched articles and such. And so one of the first articles that popped up today, because obviously it's fresh in the news, an article has now been written in an official magazine specifically talking about the case of genocide going on right now in China. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. Have you heard about this recent news? And I was able to tell them, oh yeah, by the way, Disney got into bed with China. And this is the reason why it's being talked about right now, is because they're doing research into the fact that they've essentially been killing an entire, religious group in their country. And it's a modern genocide in a lot of ways. So it was really kind of cool to have that connection. Again, obviously genocide's not cool, but it was still interesting to see that this is something that's even now pouring into the academic sphere. And that always makes me happy because it means, okay, if the academics are starting to talk about it, that means that, Disney has very few friends left to be able to defend it for, playing around with them. Let's see. Thirsty the Warrior tagged at 702 and says, we had a local pizzeria started by a New York Italian guy. Prominently displayed on the menu, it says, we won't judge unless you ask for pineapple. That is, boom, 13th Warrior. Yes. Yes. That sounds like my local pizzeria. Because, yes, screw pineapple on pizza. That's disgusting. Get it out of here. Tina B says, I'm okay with anything I said. I'm not backing down. I never thought you would back down, Tina. It's mostly just for everyone else. Just, again, to make sure everyone's comfortable with it. Let's see. Tina B, thank you again for letting them know how to contact me. Eric K says, hail to you, Eric K. Thank you again for being a member on the channel. Very much appreciate it. Eric K, yes, indeed, was at 1.03 thousand subs. Awesome. All right. Forever Sci-Fi is a member of the channel. Hail to you, Forever Sci-Fi. Eric O'Sullivan in the chat. Nathan Slade tagged and says, is the movie Vampire Kiss worth watching? I've never seen it, so I cannot say one way or the other. However, I'm pretty sure it has an amazing performance from Nicolas Cage, if it's the movie that I'm thinking about. There is a awesome clip and montage on YouTube called Nicolas Cage loses his crap. But obviously it's the expletive of crap. And it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. But a lot of scenes come from Vampire Kiss or Vampires Kissed or wherever it's called. So it might not be my cup of tea as a good movie, but it looks like it'd be like a hilariously bad movie. But again, I haven't seen it. Tim Tringle Jr., what's going on, Tim Tringle? Glad to see you here. Hope you are doing very, very well. As people are saying, dolars. What's dollar? Yeah, not dollars, dolars. It's essentially sorrows or pains, the pains of the Virgin Mary. That's the feast that we celebrate today. Waiting for Nerdrotic. What is going on? Laura says the music from your ad is playing in the background. Wait, like that you can hear? The music from what? Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I was very, very confused by this. I had no idea what's going on, my friend. All right, I'm caught up with the chat over there. So we do have a $5 super chat from Eric K. Eric, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, probably the only reason Disney got caught using cheap labor is they think the people running the gulags. Yep. And you know what? It's kind of amazing that of all the ways that they could get caught with this is by their own hand. Like the fact that they basically outed themselves as being supportive of these concentration camps. It's just truly amazing to me that the reason why we really even know about it in the first place and the reason why it's gotten so much attention is because of their idiocy. And you know what? If this gets Disney in trouble, which right now it looks like it has because of the money they're losing and the fact that academics are now writing against it, that's awesome. That's great. And also, if China continues to get exposed for the commie dictatorship nonsense that it has, good. That's awesome. Right? Again, it's amazing to me that we still, for some reason, have a communist nation in our world, one that is so large and such a big part of the national, or rather the international economy. It just boggles my mind. Now, obviously, it's because the people there are the ones that need to rise up. I don't believe in, overthrowing, personally, this is just my own view. I don't believe in overthrowing governments. And, to me, it just causes more chaos and causes more death than it should. So the people of that country, though, need to rise up. And I'm really hoping that we can finally get to the point where they can wake up to it. I really hope. And this is getting me there. All right, let's go over to D-Live real quick before jumping into various things with the box office. Thank you very much for muting someone. I assume that they were going to be a complete tool about it. Alexander, welcome to the chat. Will Gentry over there tagged and says, pineapple on pizza is manna from heaven. Screw you, Will, in your weird UK British ways. That's what it really is. You know what I'll say to you? Soccer. Captain Adam in the clan says, where do you want me to put the puppy pics Discord on or your Twitter? If you're sending it just through messages, either one works. Let's see. Captain Adam says, that is doll hairs, sir, not dollars. You see, that made me think of the movie Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, when there is the woman he dates with Tourette's, which is actually kind of interesting because the character's played by Amy Poehler, and I don't think today's Amy Poehler would actually play that character because everything is just so woke and politically correct now. And I feel like she's definitely a big part of that, like, elitist mentality now. Sadly, as a comedian, it's really sad to see that. But at one point, they're at the baseball game because Deuce Bigalow says, hey, this is a place where you'll probably fit in. And at one point, she yells, ball hair. And that's the expletive she says. And you're just like, ball hair? And everyone's looking around saying, wait, what? And so Deuce's response, played by the amazing Rob Schneider, says, ball hair. What we need is a strike hair. I thought it was funny. But that's what that reminded me of, Adam. So, Will Gentry says, blasphemy. Oi. Oi, mate. Oi. What you gonna do, mate? Now I'm turning into an Aussie. Jonathan Aldridge, thank you very much for the 5 super chat. Again, I always forget if it's euros or pounds. Thank you very much for the super chat nonetheless. Odin, as a Brit, I have met Brits that think Americans are weird in your ways also. Doesn't really surprise me at all. Does not surprise me one bit. We're a pretty weird crew. Even I can admit that Americans are weird. There's no denying that. That's just a fact. Oh man, so let's go ahead and just catch up with YouTube, and then we'll dive into some of the box office numbers that we've gotten so far. We got 84 people watching. Please smash that like button. Excuse me, by the way. I really would appreciate it very, very much so. Oh my goodness, really? Someone has created this as their username. The username, I'm not saying it, the username is subscribe to Drunk 3PO. Wow. I'm hoping you're someone that super chats to other channels just so that they can read your username. In fact, that would be a great username to donate to Gary, because then if you send multiple ones, you don't even have to put the words subscribe to Drunk 3PO in. Just them reading your name alone will be enough. That's great. That's so great. That dude has gotten so much free promotion. It's amazing. Let's see. Laura says, so happy to see the soulless version of Mulan fail hard. Me too. Again, it's not even just that it's Disney or that it's a remake. It's just not a good movie at all. It's a soulless, as you said, it's a soulless remake. It has no heart to it whatsoever. It's an empty shell, just like so many of their other live action films have been. And it just really does make me happy because I'm hoping and praying, it probably won't, but a man can hope that this is the message that Disney needs to get the hell out of making and remaking these nonstop remakes. It's so ridiculous. Let's see. Father says, holy days are not moved in Lincoln. That's awesome. Lucky, lucky, lucky. And then says, Ascension Thursday is still celebrated on Thursday. Dude, Father, that is something I really wish was happening more universal in the church. I really do. I really do. Because it's just so sad that we're just making things, like things are already so simple, even before COVID happened. Now it's no bishop is making, no bishop has said that the obligation to go to mass for young, healthy people is back. Or at least not that I'm aware of. I could be wrong on that, Father, and please do correct me, but I know my bishop hasn't. And it's just, okay, so, and I remember saying this months ago at this point, saying, I honestly don't think that it's going to happen anytime soon. And when you think about that and you think about how it's been such a part of life as a Catholic, it really is just it's so infuriating, because it's just taking away, one, the understanding of how important Mass is, and two, do you honestly think that people are reading what the bishop is saying about, oh, you still have to offer up something on Sunday, you still have to worship God actively? All they hear, in modern day world is, oh, I don't have to go to Mass. I know that's what the kids oftentimes feel, and I just think it's a bad message. It's a really bad message. So, yeah, every time, Father, you mention your diocese, I'm like, man, that sounds like a solid Orthodox diocese. Dark Shadow Logan, how is it going? Jack Harper's here. What's going on, Jack Harper? By the way, Jack Harper, you were wonderful in the movie Oblivion. You were played by Tom Cruise. I'm pretty sure his character's name was Jack Harper. I'm Jack Harper, and I'm home. I love that movie so much. It's so good. Let's see. Orange Hat Reviews is a member at 710 says, Mulan failing makes me think they may push the free viewing on Disney Plus back a couple of months. I doubt that, because they've already kind of announced it. What is more likely to happen, Orange Hat, is that, and even other media outlets have kind of speculated on this, is that they will probably move to PVOD on Amazon and on Google Play and on iTunes much faster. And I could see that one making more sense. And I could see them also dropping their price. Now, it'll be interesting to see how quickly they do that, because what if they drop it to $20 or $25, and then they have people on Disney Plus who spend $30 for it, and they could have waited a week or two and gotten it for cheaper. So it's interesting. And also, we do apparently have some numbers on it. So basically, there was a report coming out that around 1 million or so subscribers, or rather 1 million or so households, had actually downloaded or actually had watched Mulan. So that's coming coming from the accounts that have streaming boxes, right? So if you have a streaming service, or either a streaming box or streaming TV, they were able to track that. Someone was able to track that information. So around 1 million households, which means the movie made, opening weekend, opening couple weeks, around $30 million, $33 million or so. And so even at that higher number, right, because the early numbers were around 6 million, even at that higher number of 33 million, for that to be your opening weekend, when typically in a domestic marketplace, when you have a normal opening, you would be making north of $100 million, it just goes to show you how really poorly that movie is doing. And we'll talk more about it in a second. Laura, waiting for Nadronic, says, please, please, please don't watch Raised by Wolves. There was a scene at the end of episode 4, so gruesome, it will haunt me forever. Oh, no. Because you showed a little picture of a wolf, if something happens to an animal, then yeah, no thank you. No thank you. It's one of the reasons why I refuse to watch the TV series Chernobyl, because someone said, oh yeah, it features this, and I'm like, nope. Even if I know when it happens, no thank you. Not something I want to see. Let's see. Jake Equinox, thanks for being here in the chat. James Dashe, what's going on, good sir? And also, he sent a super chat 4 minutes ago and says, have you seen Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner? I've not, actually. I've never seen any of the Kevin Costner baseball trilogy, right? The unofficial baseball trilogy featuring Kevin Costner. I've never seen any of them. So I know that's a movie that a lot of people mention. I build it and they will come. But haven't seen it. Jonathan Aldridge, thank you for another super chat. Says, I'm very supportive of Gina Carano's response to being attacked as a woman on Twitter. She has the right to choose who she wants to be. Damn right. Absolutely, Jonathan. No question about it. I'm fully supportive of her too. And, there's some people saying, does this make you more excited to see The Mandalorian? And I say yes. I say yay, right? In the words of the late, great John Panette, right? He would have in his skit, I say nay, but to that one, I say yay, for sure. Because it's something where I want to support the show now just because I want to support her. And I want to be able to make the connection saying, by the way, Disney, I think you're deplorable. I think you're disgusting, but I'm watching your show because of this woman. So if you even think about firing her, if you even think about diminishing her role in any way or speaking out against her in any way, keep in mind the amount of people that are going to be watching or putting up with this season just because, or mainly because of Gina Carano. Like, just keep that in mind, Disney. Be very careful. Be very, very careful how you tread, because you're already losing and bleeding money. Let's look to the theme park situation you're currently in. Let's look to the movie situation you're currently in. You are bleeding money at this point. You cannot afford to have your new big franchise lose people. So, yeah, much respect and much love to Gina Carano, because, yeah, and she's doing an amazing job. For those that don't know, she was attacked initially because she didn't make her entire profile and her entire Twitter account about BLM. And she said, no, I'm not going to be bullied into it. And it's amazing because she says, I'm not saying that I don't support the general sentiment. And she's like, I'm not saying I don't support these various things, but I refuse to be bullied. And I'm like, damn right, stand up. And so she also got attacked by the pronoun police too, initially, because she also was refusing to put pronouns into her bio. And this was something that actually happened months ago where she was, or rather weeks ago at this point, where she was attacked initially. So then she decides to change her profile and add pronouns, only they're not pronouns. Instead, it's just beep, boop, and bop or whatever. And it's, again, the sounds of the sounds of R2-D2. And then all the pronoun police are freaking out because they're like, oh, she's attacking trans people and she's transphobic. It's like, no, she's not. And the fact that she has to spell it out too by saying, it's amazing to me that people who don't even realize that I support the notion and I support your ability to do this, and yet they're so blinded by their hatred and they're so blinded by their own egos, they're unwilling to allow anyone to even poke a joke, right? It's just so insane. Gina Carano is single-handedly exposing the hypocrisy of the left, the hypocrisy of the far left, and the hypocrisy especially of the social justice warriors on Twitter. It's amazing. Jonathan Aldridge sent another super chat and says, would you her being sacked if she does a bad job? Would you her being sacked if she does a bad job? I'm not exactly sure what you meant by that. And then he says, I meant to say, would you agree that Gina Carano should be sacked if she does a bad job in her acting role? Yeah, I mean, if that's the reason why. But here's the thing, though. She's doing a great job. She's doing an amazing job in the role that she has, because she's actually a pretty solid actress. Again, is she an Oscar-worthy person? Again, in the traditional sense, not really, but she's solid, right? And every now and then, you don't always need a Daniel Day-Lewis in a role. Sometimes you just need solid actors, and she is completely solid. Not to mention, her role requires a lot of physical activity, and guess what? She does her own stunts. She can do her own fighting because she actually was a fighter. And if you really want a great example of this, watch the movie she was in called Haywire. It's actually a really good film. And what I love about it is that all the fight scenes are her. She does her own fights, and there's no music playing during her fights. So literally all you get to hear are just the raw sounds of the actual fight itself. And it makes it so much more hyper-realistic. And it just works. So yeah, if the reason why she was being let go from a job was because she wasn't doing the job well, then yeah. But here's the thing. If she were to get fired at this point, there's no way it's for the acting, because she's being solid. She's not being criticized in any way because of her acting ability. All right? So that's not even a subjective view, right? I mean, there are objective qualities to acting, right? We can tell when someone's a good actor or a bad actor. No, you can't. It's subjective. Really? Are you telling me that Tommy Wiseau is a good actor? How do you know he's not good? That's right, because there are objective qualities that we can look to. And Gina Carano is a good actress. She's solid. Absolutely solid. All right. The chat will be jumping on me soon, but Laura says, Vampire's Kiss is worth a watch. It sounds like it would just be a fun time. It really just does sound like it would be a fun time to watch. That's for sure. No question about it. Let's see. Maybe there's a later comment that I didn't see. I never questioned the Valkyrie. Mistakes sometimes happen, but I never questioned the Valkyrie. And I'll double check that, though. Let us see here. All right, I'm caught up with that. So let's just talk a little bit about the box office before diving back over to DLive and then back over to YouTube. So let's first talk about Tenet. So Tenet has so far made well over $200 million worldwide. According to Box Office Mojo, it has made $207.5 million worldwide. It's made $29.5 million here in the States, the domestic marketplace, and made $178 million in the international marketplace. Now, many people have been pointing out the fact that because it's only made around $30 million here in the States, that means it is an epic fail, that it is a massive failure. The problem with that mindset is this. For one, it ignores the amount of money it's made internationally. For one, right? So $207.5 million sounds a hell of a lot better than 29.5. So if you just look at the 29.5 million, yeah, based on a $200 million budget, that sounds like a failure. Compared to $207.5 million, not nearly as much of a failure, right? So that's the one thing. The second thing that it fails to recognize and to focus on is the fact that this movie has not yet been released in every single area. That's not just countries, that's even here in the United States. Big parts of that are California and New York. By the way, just a reminder, just in case you forgot, media pundits and box office, so-called box office experts, you do remember that a huge portion of the box office stems from New York and LA. Those are the two largest markets in our country, and they are shut down right now. So once those start going up, and again, we don't really know exactly at this point when they'll be back up and running, whether in certain areas of the state it'll be up and running or whatever, right? We don't have a timeline really on that because in California, they're changing the rules every single damn day, and it's ridiculous. New York, I'm assuming they're doing the same thing. Both are being run by incompetent governors. Both are being run by incompetent local principalities too. So you look to these and you say, okay, that means that you have millions of people, potentially, who have not yet had access to Tenet. Now, could they have seen a pirated version online at this point? Sure. And I imagine that probably a big number of those people have. But since most people still to this day prefer to watch a movie in theaters rather than pirating, and since this movie has not been released yet in those states, in those markets, and also it's still making money in other international markets and has not been released in every international marketplace either, there's still a lot of time for this movie to make money at this point. So could the movie make $300 million plus by the end of its run? Possibly. Is it going to be hard in this marketplace? Absolutely. If this film doesn't make $300 million, that would not surprise me. If this film is a financial flop, that would not surprise me either. But to say right now, based on the numbers we have, that this movie is a massive flop really just is not being accurate. Because again, if you only focus on the domestic, yeah, okay, it looks really bad. But $207.5 million worldwide on a $200 million budget. Now remember, it does not get 100% of the box office numbers. And it only gets 25% or so of the numbers it's getting from China. So even though it's got like $50+ million in China, it only gets about 25% of that number, right? So that's going to lower the worldwide number that it actually gets by a lot. In the American marketplace, it's only around 60% normally. And that's the other thing too. Normal standards that we hold movies to are out the window. In the normal lifespan of a movie, normally by the end of its run, you take the box office internationally and you say, okay, the studio gets about 60% of that amount. And then you can figure out how much money that movie made or lost. In the current age, though, seeing that they likely are still getting these 90% in the first 2 weeks of the box office in the States, and you're not going to have nearly probably as much of a lengthy window for it being out, and we don't know what those deals are going to be like down the line. What if it happens where it's the same deals? So every week the movie's out, doesn't matter if it's open in every marketplace, that the deals being made with the theater chains are the same as it normally would. So it starts off 90-10, and then by the end of its run, it's mostly the theater getting the money. If the movie does start to make more money, if the movie does start to open up in California and New York and bringing in millions and millions of dollars, if they're getting less of the percentage that they normally would, because it's been a delayed opening, or rather it's been a delayed process, that raises a big question mark. So there's a lot of factors that we just don't know. And so to say right off the bat the movie's a flop really is not a genuine thing to say. It's leaving a lot of facts out the window. It's ignoring a lot of things that really have not come into play yet. Now, is there a good chance that the movie will lose money? Yes. At this point, yes. Is it guaranteed to lose money? No. There's still definitely a situation in a scenario, probably more than one, where the film can definitely still make its money back. It's not the same scenario going on with Mulan right now. We'll get to Mulan in a second. But let's start off there with Tenet, and let me now go back into the chat. So let's go back first to the D-Live chat for a second. Will Gentry says, blasphemy. Yes, indeed. Captain Adam says, I shared in general on your Discord, sir. Enjoy. Well, thank you very much for that. Then says, or spend nothing and wait till December and see it for original price. That's true, right? Again, that's the other big problem with Mulan. And again, we'll dive into the Mulan numbers in a second. That even if you do have Disney Plus at this point, and even if they do decide to move it to Amazon and to Google Play and to other PVOD services outside of Disney Plus, you're still dealing with a service that's going to be offering it for free in December. I don't think that they would I don't think that they would do away with it. Now, what could potentially happen, this would not surprise me, since its release on Disney Plus is so close to its theatrical release, relatively speaking, would not surprise me maybe if Disney tries to make deals with companies to have ads play. Now, that could be a way they make some money. Because imagine if you have ads playing when you get to see Mulan for free. So for one, it would piss people off because you're paying, you're seeing ads behind a paywall. But Disney could potentially argue the point saying, well, it's a newer film and it's a premium format that if you watch it anywhere else, you'll have to pay a certain amount of money to watch. But on our service, you get to watch it with minimal ads. Because then they could make money off of those ads. And so even though technically it's free, they could make money. Now, if they start doing that, I expect a cut for giving them the idea in the first place. That being said, obviously, I don't want them to do that. But then again, who's honestly here going to be watching Mulan, even when it's free? It's not even worth then. It's not worth the time. It's a complete waste of your time. So I don't recommend it. All right, let's see. The K-Man says, haven't seen Field of Dreams. Yep, taking Odin's movie card away. Well, sorry. That's not even the worst movie that I've not seen, as far as, the one that most people have seen. Alexander says, we can save this person. We just need one Hollywood actor with compassion and empathy. Dun, dun, dun. Tune in next time. I don't know what that was a reference to. But anyway, that's the last one I see with me tagged, so hope DLAFam is doing well. Jump back over to YouTube at 7:14 in the YouTube chat. It's 7:36 in real life. So please have some patience and drop a like while you're here. Because right now we are at, let's see, what are we at? We're at 112 people. Smash that like button. 2 streams. Last Saturday we had a large number of people as well. Thank you very much for being supportive and being here on the channel. Before we get into the other chats, though, Jonathan Aldridge had another super chat. Thank you so much for being very generous tonight, good sir. And says, sounds to me like in America, you have the same issue over government as people in the UK do when it comes to people in government. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you live in a country where you have for you, a parliamentary system, for us, we have a constitutional republic. Some people, for some reason, don't like when you say that point, even though it's true. That when you have this type of representative government in general is always going to get in the way. No matter how good of a system you build, there's always going to be problems because if anyone has power at all, power corrupts. And that's why for us, our big problem is that we don't have term limits. And so you have senators and House representatives that can be in power for 50 plus years and never do anything and become a career politician and get millions of dollars because of the special deals they've made with companies and, all the behind the scenes deals that they're making and just the corruption, right? And I think that because of that, yeah, no matter what, you're going to be pissed off at your leadership. You're going to be pissed off at the government because of that very reason. So, yeah, I mean, UK government has issues. Our government has a lot of issues. And so that to me just seems like a very common theme for anyone under any type of government. Some more than others, though. Let's see. General Wingster at 7:14, though, said, Odin, do you have a strict curriculum to teach, or do you have more freedom to use current events to discuss these topics? So the curriculum is, structured. So there is a structure to it. But yeah, I mean, as a teacher, and especially when you deal with subjects like religion or philosophy in general, it does lead you to be more open to talking more so about current events and bringing those into the discussion. Because if I can relate a modern day topic and a modern day situation going on to the moral issue that we're discussing, then that's going to connect it more with the students. So, yeah, I mean, I can't bring politics into it. And, I don't think that's a good thing to do anyway, even if I was allowed to do it. And normally, if I ever make any type of political statement in the classroom, it's mostly that, hey, everyone everyone in government has issues, right? No party is perfect. And that's just a fact. Like that's not even opinion, because I can talk about, one of the most profound things that I love to tell students is, hey, do you think that the Catholic Church is a political party? And many of them will say no outright, but I ask them then, but does it seem like it would be? Does it seem like it is? Does it ever seem like people say you can't be a Catholic unless you're a Republican? Or some would say you can't be a Catholic unless you're a Democrat. When in reality, no, you have to be a Catholic first. And really, we should be completely devoid of political parties in general, because both main political parties, at the very least, are corrupt and have a lot of moral issues that we need to take up, problems with. Doesn't mean that we can't vote for anyone of any political party. It just means that to be a part of a party and to put party at the same level or maybe even slightly below or slightly above our religious beliefs and concerns is a problem. Let's see. Laura says, I think the music was just an error for me. The music in Raised by Wolves. Let's see. Dark Shadow Logan tagged at 7:15 says, if you get the chance, grab... Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah. So, Laura, you were talking about... so you heard music in the background, so it was just for you and not for everyone else. So, yes, got it. Let's see. Dark Shadow Logan tagged at 7:15 and says, if you get the chance, grab and watch The Fourth War and Heartbreak Ridge. Those two movies seem to be problematic now and are awesome movies, but are getting harder to find for sale. Yeah, so I have... Actually, no. I thought I was thinking of a different movie when you said Heartbreak Ridge. I was thinking of the one by Mel Gibson, which I'm actually not a huge fan of. But Heartbreak Ridge 1986, I've actually never seen that before. And The Fourth War, you said. So I'll look into those. Because I love hearing about movies that are harder to hear. If you don't know, I still have that preservation project going on. It's kind of slowed down because the recommendations that I've gotten for the most part have kind of run out of steam, because the ones that I'm getting recommended are ones where it's people's favorites, but they're still readily available. And that's kind of not really the purpose of my project in general. But if those are harder to find, then those are definitely seeming to be more primed for what I'm trying to do. Let's see. Nathan Slay says, would you say that Alien 3 pulled a Rian Johnson before Rian Johnson existed? I mean, Alien 3 was plagued by a lot of problems, and most of it really came from studio interference. I would actually not say it was Rian Johnson, because Rian Johnson had full control over what he did. Let's see. Laura says, Midnight's Edge just did an interesting video about how many attempts to make a Dune movie. Yeah, I think I saw that they had made a retrospect on Dune itself, and it's one that I want to watch. I know Tina has shared it with me, and it's actually one I really do want to watch, because maybe it can sell me on the movie. Dark Shadow Logan says, pineapple pizza is a sin. I'm sure there is canon law about it somewhere. Dude, if there is not canon law about it, there should be. I hope that, Pope Francis or whoever the next pope is after him, at least someone in the near future, is able to make a new canon law. I want them to speak ex cathedra in an infallible statement and say, pineapple and pizza do not mix. I declare it with the fullness of my authority. All right, speaking of Midnight's Edge, we got Midnight's Edge After Dark. Tom in the chat. What's going on, Tom? Glad to see you here. Eric K, who's a member, says, China has taken over Tibet in 1950 and steal all the resources. Dalai Lama had to leave, and China appointed their own Lama educated by them in the way to think. Yeah, Eric K, dude. China has a lot of problems, and that's why I hope this exposes even more the problems there. Look to what they're doing, obviously, to specifically their Muslim minorities. They're the ones being persecuted in China. And then also look to the Catholic Church and to Christians there. Christians are being treated terribly. And the fact that our, for the church, at the very least, for the Catholic Church, the fact that our Vatican is making deals with the Chinese government and also accepting bishops that are handpicked by the commies is insane. It's ridiculous. It's one of the worst moves that's been done by the current pontiff. And it's really disturbing, because there's a lot of great things that Pope Francis has done. And he just seems like, in so many ways and in so many scenarios, to be someone with a good head on his shoulders. But then there's so many others where, and this one being a really big one, where it just is like, really? Are you that clueless that you can't see there's a problem with you taking sides with the communist government? I just, how can you take sides with the commies over the underground church? Again, in communist China, you have to register with them to go to an official state-approved mass. Even if you're not Catholic, you would say to that, wait a minute, that's ludicrous. That's not freedom, because it's not. It's still communism. And the argument for Pope Francis would say, well, if he didn't take the deal, then they might just say no Catholics at all. But to me, it's like, wouldn't it be better to not bow down to and make a deal with communists and to support your suffering Christians in the underground church there? Wouldn't that be better? Oh, wait, that's right. You got billions of dollars, or millions or billions of dollars from China in that deal. So, oh, wait, that's right. You have a lot of bills to pay. So it's those kind of things, right? So, it's not the church. It's the people representing in the hierarchy of the church. And it really does honestly just, it's awful. Anyway, Tina B says, I saw that Drunk 3VO shilling name. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Miss Martin Muses, thank you very much for the 99-cent super sticker. I'm assuming that's a super sticker. And knowing you, Miss Martin Muses, I'm assuming it's a rose. So I'm going to say shout out right now for the rose. But once I get to it, I'll shout you out again. Jonathan Aldridge, though, also sent another super chat and said here, he just sent another one. So Jonathan Aldridge first said, we are a collective of imperfect beings, but the experience is about becoming more than what we are as individuals. Yeah, I mean, and that's something interesting, too, because you find this a lot in American society, where obviously there's a huge push for individualism over collectivism. And I really do feel like there has to be a balance, right? I believe in the right of the individual person. We should all have we do have our own individual rights, and those must be protected and must be respected. But at the same time, and this is where my Catholicism comes into play, I also believe that we do have a duty to those around us, right? We should have a vested interest into the common good. The problem, though, is how someone, and how a government especially, defines the common good. And I don't think anyone should have forced upon them having to support said common good. It should be out of the goodness of our hearts. So we should be an individualistic society to be able to have the freedom to then choose, hopefully, if we're in a good, honest, and moral society, to have our own choice be to help the common good and to help those around us, and then come together as a community, if that makes sense. Let's see, Jonathan Aldridge says, Christians are treated badly all over the world where they are in a minority and not in a multi-faith society. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, just go ahead and look to various countries in the Middle East. This is a big problem where Christians are being persecuted on a daily basis. I remember there was, several years ago, there was a woman who was a gospel singer, and she was locked up for months in a shipping container just for being a Christian. And she's lucky she survived. The horror stories that you hear about people, and that's why it's amazing to me, because if China was persecuting Christians, which they are, you wouldn't, and that's why you don't hear much about it. But the fact that they are essentially eradicating and taking place and taking part in a genocide of a Muslim minority, you would think in today's culture and in today's society that would be a red flag, that the liberals and the bleeding heart left would say, oh my gosh, we have to do something. And yet they make the exception with China. It really just goes to show you how hypocritical these people are, right? It shows you how hypocritical the NBA is. It shows you how hypocritical Disney is, because they claim to be so supportive and so inclusive, and we're gonna have the first ever. The Disney right now is saying, well, you know what? We're gonna have the first ever Muslim MCU hero, and it's like, yeah, tell that to the Muslims that are being killed right now in China, the country that you made a deal with and that you are, not going after. The one that you are kind of trying to sugarcoat and say, oh no, they're fine, everything's good. We thank them. We thank them, and we thank their killing ways. It's like, really? And that's, again, the hypocrisy of really American ideal, or rather American liberalism, American far leftism, right? Is that it really just, it proves itself to be a complete sham. It's a complete sham. It's a complete facade. They claim to be believers of justice and promoters of justice only when it's convenient, only when it leads to power, only when it leads to money. But as soon as they actually have to make a stand, as soon as they actually have to take a risk, they're silent. That's why you'll hear every single, one of these, far leftists in Hollywood talking about pay inequality and inequality for women in Hollywood, but then they will not spend 1 second in another country where women don't have equal rights, where women actually don't have equal rights, where women only just got the right to drive a few years ago, where women still don't have the right to vote. They won't go over there. They won't talk over there. They won't take the risk because they're shallow. They're fake. It's complete fake. It's ridiculous. Anyway, did not expect to have that kind of discussion tonight. But again, China and Disney are going to bring those things up. No question. Let's see. Father says, Wisconsin bishops lifted the obligation. Archbishop Lucas of Omaha is talking with the other bishops about lifting it in Nebraska soon. Oh, lifted the obligation. So what do you mean by that? Do you mean that lifted the... So again, for me, my issue is the fact that the obligation is not there. I think the obligation should be back for people that are young and healthy, right? It's one thing to say, okay, if you're still old and you still are at risk of anything, right, that you can still have a dispensation, right? You can still have an exception made from the Sunday obligation. But to me, it's like, I really hope that our bishops start to For lack of a better expression, man up. All right, Nathan Slay at 720 says, Disney, let's do a remake of Mulan, and after all the complaints we got from Lion King, we will not do a shot-for-shot remake. Instead, we'll strip away anything fun from the original. Yeah, there were a lot of problems with that Lion King one, too. Hypernex13 721, my brother, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you, Hypernex13. Latino Slant 721 says, I'm here. We can start. Well, we're long past that. It's 7:50 now, so I'm about 30 minutes behind. Tina B says, I wasn't tagged and happened to see your comment. If you want Odin to see the comment, yeah, so please, if you're new to the channel, you got to type Odin question, all one word. That'll highlight on my screen and it'll let me know you're trying to get my attention. Harvey says, did you watch the new Mulan pitch meeting video? It's spot on. I don't think I've seen their recent one. Brian Barth at 722 says, do you think Jodorowsky's Dune would have been good? I don't know anything about it, so I couldn't say one or the other. And yeah, so I saw what happened. So Brian Barth, don't spam comments. Don't spam questions. You only need to post it once, and as long as you do the Odin question like you did there, you will be fine. But yeah, that's why I can see why one of your comments was deleted later on, because spam will not be tolerated. Hologram Nunchuck, hail to you, good sir. Glad to see you in the chat. Let's see. Laura says, you've never seen Bull Durham? Nope, I have not. Again, I've not seen any of the Kevin Costner baseball movies. As Laura has a series of emotions, anger, disappointment, curiosity, tears, and then facepalm. That sounds about right. Hypernex13 says, as Walter White would say to Disney, maybe your best course of action would be to tread lightly. Yes, absolutely. Boop, bop, beep. Thank you. Those are the ones that she chose. Hologram Nunchuck says, nice shirt, man. Thank you, man. Back to the Future. Gotta love it. One of my favorite movies. Nathan Slay, can I just say that Jaws is miles better than JP? I mean, I think that Jaws has better characters and is more exciting. Oh, Jurassic Park. That really comes down to subjective view. I think they're both stellar films, and the effects in Jurassic Park still, even, that film coming out, early 90s, is still one of the most breathtaking films and has one of the best scores too. They both have good scores though, and they're both great films. I think I prefer Jurassic Park though. But again, if you prefer Jaws, that makes sense. It's a great film. See, Orange Eye Review says, Odin, a few nights ago, I decided to ask one of the pronoun police how she was transphobic. All they did was show me her posts that were not hateful. I told them to get some ointment for that butthurt. Yeah, seriously, it's like she has never shown hate at all. In fact, she's shown more love and understanding. It's just because she doesn't do things the way that you want her to, and you can't control her. That's what you think means that, again, it's this mindset that exists in our culture, where if I don't affirm your choices, if I don't affirm your lifestyle, if I don't affirm who you think I should look at you to be, or if I don't affirm you the way that you think I should, then that makes me hateful. It's like, no. No. To hate someone means I hate you. It means the very essence of who you are is what I hate. And the vast majority of people in the world don't feel that way about anyone. And it's just really sad that people have gotten so crossed with this. Latino Slant, who's a member at 727, Costner had some great sports movies, including Tin Cup. Never seen Tin Cup either. I've never been a Costner fan in general. Just never been my cup of tea. Hardwick, I found out there are 13 movies and 5 TV shows based on the Mulan legend, and another made by Sony in development. The first was released in 1927. Yeah, well, and I think Disney's could possibly be the worst. I haven't seen the others, so I can't say that for sure. Nathan Slay, should Robert De Niro have his head examined for wanting to do a Taxi Driver sequel? No, I just think that he probably should just be ignored at this point. The dude's crazy. The dude's insane. He's got TDS to the max, and he hasn't made a good movie in a long time. So, Eric K728, funny thing about the comments about Gina not changing her name. If you read them, various black or trans people support her for not doing it, saying they do not think it is necessary either. Yeah, exactly. There are regular everyday people looking at what she's doing and saying, no, she shouldn't have to. She is showing herself to be supportive. And yet the fact that she is not supporting in the way that people want her to automatically means that she's hateful, which is ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous and insane. All right. The chat has jumped on me once again. So let us just see where we left off in the chat. So it looks like some comments may have been skipped. It's 7:34 in the chat, so maybe not. Maybe it might be fine. Jeremy Swig 736 though says Jay just tortured us by rating the Twitch. Dear God, no. The deer spirit animal dude that claims to be a deer woman. That guy. Let me jump over to DLive though, catch up with them, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Mulan's financials. We'll go into that to finish up, and then we'll go through the chats, and that should take us to the... Yeah, we still have 30 minutes, but that should take us, because you know how it takes me a while. But anyway, let's catch up with DLive. Captain Adams says, loves pineapple on pizza. Odin loves pineapple on pizza. No, never. Phone Nemo, what's going on, good sir? Glad to see you here. Let's see. Captain Adams says, Disney and China suck. Disney sucks and China sucks. They both really suck. Yes, indeed. Will Gender says, oh my lord, Junk just rated Ferociously Steph on Twitch. She's that dear girl person that one Twitch put on their diversity panel. Yeah. And, you know, this might be hateful of me, but he's a dude. He's a dude disguised as a deer pretending to be a woman. It's crazy. Adam says, but spam, aka special processed army meat, is good to eat, sir. On pizza? No, thank you. Spam has never sounded good to me. I've never had it, but it also just never sounded good. Phonemo says, has New Mutants made more than Mulan? No. I don't believe... Again, it depends on... So, New Mutants, I'll talk a little bit about it. New Mutants Worldwide has made $29.5 million. Now, when you look at that, you say, that doesn't seem very good. However, this is a movie that I didn't think was going to make any money at all. And let's just go ahead and dive into this just real quick. So the New Mutants, let's see, production budget. So New Mutants had a production budget of around 67 to 80 million. The range, obviously, because it's been in production for a long time, but let's assume 80. That sounds more correct there. Cost $80 million to make. They've only made $29.5 million, of which they don't get 100%. So, yeah, even New Mutants has lost money. And that one's been out for a while now. It's been out since August 28th. So, that film is set to... But you know what? I will say this much. New Mutants has made a hell of a lot more than I ever thought it could. And especially during pandemic, that is impressive. So you know what? Even though New Mutants is a flop at this point, because again, it's been out for long enough, and it's not even made half of its budget back. And again, that's before marketing. Again, that $80 million is before marketing. So with marketing, that's $120 million. So still needs to make around $190 to $100 million. And it still needs to make more than that technically, because it doesn't get 100% of the box office. So yeah, Mulan on the other hand has made around 37.6 internationally alone. So yeah, that I could have predicted. You know, even with all the controversy, I never thought in a million years that New Mutants was going to make more, and it did, and I didn't expect it to. So all right, cool. So I've caught up over on DLive. So now back to YouTube. We'll catch up on YouTube, and then we'll go more so into the Mulan financials. So Jeremy Swig says, Jay just tortured us. I got that one. JJ, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Planet Must Vlog, how's it going? Gordo Bonnet, Solen, welcome to the chat. James Danger says, name your favorite Jake Gyllenhaal movie. Mine is October Sky. Favorite Jake Gyllenhaal movie, I'm going to say Performance, Nightcrawler. It's not my favorite movie he's been in, but it's my favorite performance from Jake Gyllenhaal. He's so good in that movie. It's insane. Hardwick, there's a Chinese Mulan movie released in 2009 that sounds pretty good. Yifi Liu, who played Mulan in 2020, auditioned for that one as well, but lost out to Zhao Wei. Well, it's because the one in 2020 can't act. Rob D tagged and says, hey, Odin, are there any actors or directors that you buy every one of their movies? So I've mentioned this on previous streams before. My favorite director working in Hollywood right now is a man named Denis Villeneuve. He's the one that directs the upcoming Dune movie, and I've had nothing but praise for him. I own every one of his movies. Every film that has had a wide release ever since his first film in 2010, which was called Incendies, which was the only film up to that point up to about a week or two ago that I had not seen. Finally got it on Blu-ray, and this film is brilliant. It's a French-Canadian movie, but the story's fantastic, and this dude knows how to make movies. Like, even my least favorite film of his, Enemy, is confusing as hell, but it's still a well-made movie. It's still a movie where I can say technically this film is still impressive, and it's worth watching for that. But yeah, dude, I love his stuff, and if I could recommend any one of his films to watch first, Sicario. Watch Sicario, the first one. The second one's good. Sicario, though, is directed by him, and it has the same writer, Sheridan, that is in the second movie too, but the second movie is not directed by Denis Villeneuve. So, yes, Sicario, but also Prisoners. So good. Speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal, great Gyllenhaal performance, great Hugh Jackman performance too. But Denis Villeneuve, I own all of his stuff, and he's awesome. And that's why I really hope and pray that Dune is awesome as well. Let's see. Effie Sony, welcome. Miss Martin Muses, welcome. Let us see here. Blake St. Clair, what's going on? 13th Warrior says, some guy crapped in Pelosi's driveway and live streamed as a form of protest. He was detained. If he had been some random homeless guy shooting up, then crapping all would be fine. Well, here's the funny thing, right? Is that here's a guy that pooed in her driveway, which, again, public defecation, I believe, in many places is not is against the law. The problem that I have with that, though, is that these same idiots that are either praising his arrest or wanting his arrest are the same ones that want the violent protesters / rioters to get bail. It's the same idiots that led to one person that was caught trying to set a fire who then got released the same day to then try to light 6 more fires. That's what pisses me off. Hardwick, I just didn't like it. That's a subjective view. I just didn't like Hacksaw Ridge. No objective reasons why. Just subjectively, I just didn't enjoy it. Simple as that. Jeremy Swig, get out of here with that nonsense. Screw you. Ms. Martin Muses, yes, indeed. Thank you for that. Rose, I appreciate it very much. All right, Jonathan Ulrich, 4 minutes ago, sent another super chat. Thank you very much for being very, very generous tonight, Jonathan. He says, what would you think of an action hero movie of Captain Marvel and Captain America as part of its story? At this point, with Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, hell no. No thank you. I have no interest in that whatsoever. None at all. Especially, again, if you're talking now. Again, Captain America's dead. They're not going to bring him back. At least not at this point, and at least not with this, most likely not with the same actor. So that's already not going to happen. And then Captain Marvel's played by Brie Larson. So I have no interest. That sounds terrible. Now, if you're talking about if we can choose the actors, sure, why not? If we're talking traditional Captain Marvel, if we're talking actual Captain Marvel, then sure. But with it currently in the state that it's in, no, absolutely not. Let's see. Eric K743 says the Mel Gibson was Hacksaw Ridge and we were soldiers. Clint Eastwood was Heartbreak Ridge. We figured it out, everybody. This is what happens when you just instantly respond and don't pay attention. We figure things out. It's okay. Stephanie B in the chat. What's going on, Stephanie B? Finally here. Dark Shadow Logan at 746. The Fourth War stars Roy Scheider from Jaws and Heartbreak Ridge stars Clint Eastwood. Both are military movies. Very cool. HyperNext13 says, after thinking about Incredibles for a while, I don't know which did the twist more heartbreakingly. Incendies. Oh, sorry. Hyper says, after thinking about Incendies, not Incredibles, Incendies for a while, I don't know which did the twist more heartbreakingly. Incendies or Old Boy. Have you seen Old Boy? No, I've not. So I know there's 2 versions. I've been told not to even try and bother with the newer version by Spike Lee. I heard it was terrible. But the original is one that I've been told that I need to see. So I would only say the Incendies twist is incredibly heartbreaking. Like, it's done so well. Narratively, it's brilliant. The acting, of course, is spot on during it as well. It's becoming, the more I think about Incendies, it's becoming more and more one of my favorite Denis Villeneuve films. All right, let's see who else has tagged me. Jeremy Swiggs tagged 748 and says, there is a Chinese family at my church that escaped China, but the mom took longer to get out of jail just for being a Christian. Wow. Yeah. And that's just what, it's the insanity like that. And the fact that people are going to be so ignorant to it. And it's just sad. It really is. I really do wish, our current administration in the United States has taken some stands against China, but I think we could do more. I really do. And we need to. Mastasina, thank you for being in the chat. Let's see. Father, Killer Fatty 749, lift the dispensation. Good, Father. Good. Glad to hear it. And I'm assuming, I think you had talked to me about this a little bit, that it's still lifted for the elderly and the sick, which just makes sense, right? It just makes sense to do that. All right. Jonathan Aldridge at 2 minutes ago says, what if in the near future Captain was played by someone like Gina Carano as Captain Marvel? Well, if Gina Carano was in a Captain Marvel movie, I would see that opening night. Like, despite my issues with Disney, if Gina Carano was pegged to be Captain Marvel, I would go see that. Yes. I would absolutely go see that. In fact, you know what? Let's make it ridiculous. So Gina Carano, I think it's a good choice, because I think she's a much better actress in this role, in an action role. Much better than Brie Larson could ever hope to be in anything that she could ever hope to achieve. Because guess what? Gina Carano actually does her own stunts, Brie. Miss Brie, oh, look, I'm hanging. Look at my stunts. Look at how I'm working. So ridiculous. But yeah, I would go see a Gina Carano Captain Marvel movie. And I was going to say, to make it more ridiculous in casting, make John Cena Captain America. I'd go see that. And I don't even like John Cena. But you know what? If Gina Carano was Captain Marvel, that'd be badass. And you know what? At least John Cena could probably do a lot of his own stunts too. Have those two fight it out. That'd be great. Let's see. Hardwick says, Donna Mache's last name is pronounced, I got it, or Amachi. You mentioned this last time too. I don't like when things are repeated. So I'm just not going to read it. Oh, Lord. Thirsty the Warrior says, how about Spam Pizza? Will it be tolerated? No. Well, that's not going to be as bad, because I don't know Spam very well. But pineapple I do. And no, it does not belong on pizza. Brian Barth, 752. How come modern directors sucked compared to old directors, Kubrick, Wells, and Hitchcock? There's some good directors, though. Here's the thing, right? So it's not all... Keep in mind, you mentioned people like Kubrick and Wells and Hitchcock. There's plenty of other directors from that time that you don't remember, that you've never even heard of before, who probably made some pretty bad movies, too. So I think it's unfair to say that today our directors are worse. I think today you could say that people who are given a lot of money and they haven't proved themselves, or they've proven themselves to be a bad director, that they've gotten more attention than what it would have happened back in the day. I think you could make that point. Key example, Ava DuVernay, right? Ava DuVernay was given $100 million to make A Wrinkle in Time, and it was complete garbage. And she had really done nothing to that point. Oh, she made Selma. Yeah, but if you actually look back at Selma, if you take out the rose-tinted glasses of it's a movie about Martin Luther King Jr., it's not a good movie. It's not a well-made movie. The only person, like the two people that I can think of that are worthy of praise in that film are David Oyelowo, who does a great job as MLK, and then whoever the writer was. Because you know what? The writer, whoever adapted the speeches, because here's a crazy thing. They were not allowed to use the speeches from MLK. Because the people that own the rights to it, the family that owns the rights to his words, didn't allow it. Now I can kind of see why, with Ava DuVernay being as insane as she is in real life. But they therefore had to rewrite the speeches into original speeches that still captured the same magic. So I'll give a shout out to that person, but the dialogue in between and the way it was written for the screen and the direction and everything else was not good. Some people might not want to hear that, but that's what I would say, Brian Barth, to that specifically. 70B, thank you for letting me know how to contact me. Let's see. Laura at 753 says, did you hear about Pedro Pascal having hissy fits on the Mando set? Doesn't surprise me. Seeing his Twitter account, it does not surprise me that he would have hissy fits in real life. Nebraska because at 753 says, can Greta Z is so nice. Can she be corrupted into the fandom? so no. And that's what I love about her, is that she is someone where she has opinions, she has thoughts, but she doesn't try and make that the center point of what she does. And I think that's a good thing. We need that. We need that detox every now and then, right? Because you can come to me and I'll tell you how I feel about a wide variety of issues and a wide variety of topics. And I'll call out the wokeness in Hollywood and I'll call out that nonsense. But every now and then we need a channel that's just going to be wholesome, informative, and apolitical, really. And that's what I love about her channel, is that she really is just a genuinely good person that does her research and does it without any type of bias or political tinge whatsoever. Sometimes we need that kind of thing. That's what I think at the very least. We need that detox. And she just has a great channel. Again, I really do. I'm someone that actually, I watch her videos. It looks like we actually had some trolls coming into the chat. Oh, man. I love it. I love it. I love these idiots that come into the chat to troll, and they don't even know me. If they took 1 second to ask me, I would tell them, guess what? In 2016, I voted third party. I love when people think I'm a Trump supporter. It's like, I actually voted third party. Pretty sure I'm going to vote third party again. Just being honest. But if you're mad at me because I call out far left loonies and call out the fact that your boy, because I'm assuming if you're coming here trolling that you're a Biden supporter, for calling him out as being someone that's obviously suffering from dementia, well then guess what? I'm sorry, but I have to speak the truth. just being honest. All right, let me jump back over to DLive, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Mulan. I think I skipped one of the plans that I had initially, but we'll see it. Alexander says, have you seen Andrew Breitbart's interview where he claims Hollywood was conservative before 1965? I've not. I would say not that it was conservative. I would say that Hollywood was more open to ideas, or that you had more diversity of ideas in an earlier period of time. And then the 1960s were obviously a huge cultural shift for the nation, and so it makes a lot of sense as to why those voices were either silenced or pushed out. It makes a lot more sense to me. All right, so yes, I've caught up now with my DLive fam. So, talking a little bit about Mulan. So Mulan has only made $37.6 million in the entire international marketplace. There's been no domestic numbers officially announced by them. So far, the biggest chunk of their money has come from China, where it made a whopping $23.2 million in its opening weekend, which is terrible when you compare it to other films and other releases. Now, some would argue saying, well, technically it's actually doing better than Aladdin did. I think the percentage was it's doing about 16 to 18% better in China, Mulan is, than what Aladdin did. But that makes sense for a couple of different reasons. For one, this movie was specifically geared towards, was specifically marketed to the Chinese audience. So you have that going for it. And then second, the movie itself is a part of a Chinese legend. And so it's going to be more interesting to a Chinese audience than the story of Aladdin, right? Aladdin's not going to really reach out to them. Mulan, they're going to see, wait a minute, I know this story. I've heard this before. I've seen other renditions of this. And so it makes sense then that it's trending better. But the fact that it's only trending 16 to 18% better, and even though its opening is 16 to 18% better than what Aladdin was, it's still expected to make less than what Aladdin made by the end of its run. Aladdin made around 50 million or so by the end of its run in China. This one's expected to make 43 by the end of its run. So it's amazing that the movie that's trending better in its opening weekend than what Aladdin did last year, and yet it's still it's expected to make less than what Aladdin made. That just goes to show you that the Chinese audiences are rejecting this movie. They're completely rejecting it. And you know what? Good. Because this film cost Disney $200 million to make. $200 million to make this movie. $300 million, therefore, when you add in marketing. And so it only gets, again, maybe 25 to 40% of the China money. So it's made nothing so far. It's made maybe like, what, $15 to $20 million when you take out what it has to share with these countries. And then it's expected to have made around $33 million, at least opening week on Disney+. Let's assume that there was a 50% drop because most movies tend to have that even when they're online in VOD. So what, this film has made roughly $50 million. I don't believe it has any plans to release domestically. It might release in other countries. This film's broken. This film's dead. So again, anyone saying that Tenet's a major box office bomb, yeah, look to Mulan. Because the country it was betting on, and yes, there's a song from a certain film called High School Musical 2 called Bet on It. Bet on it, bet on it, bet on it, bet on me. That's what Disney was singing to China. Or maybe it was China singing to Disney. Either way, the analogy works. But the bet has failed. The bet has failed, and they will only get pennies out of the Chinese audience for putting so much money, so much attention, to the point of even thanking the commies and thanking those connected to a current modern-day genocide going on in China. And they're going to lose it. And it's fantastic. So, yeah, not too much to say about that specifically, but still worth talking about nonetheless. Let's jump to D-Live first. Phonema says, glad to see Disney still hates money since they make movies no one wants to see. Yeah, seriously. And it's great to see how they tried to kowtow to the Chinese government, and they are still not making money. That's great. That's fantastic. All right. 3 minutes ago, Jonathan Allridge, thank you for another super chat, says, being Trump support should be respected as an individual's prerogative. Have you read Rutgers Bregman's Humankind book? I've not read that book, no. But yeah, I agree. I typically am not going to go after someone if you're a Biden supporter, if you're a Tulsi supporter, if you're a Bernie supporter. It's when you start to go after others, that's when I start to say, okay, let's talk about your person for a little bit, right? And I can do that because I'm not on Trump's side. Anyone that thinks I am is not paying attention. Just because I'm a Catholic and an independent, and my values might line up a lot to the things that he might be supporting or might be, pushing for, does not mean that I think that he's a great person. He's got a lot of problems. He's got a lot of issues. There's a lot of things that I don't like about his policies. I do think that he could be doing a lot more in certain areas. I think he's been doing a lot of great things in foreign policy, right? He's brokering peace deals. That's a good thing. And it's amazing to me that just because someone can say one good thing about a president, that somehow makes him, one, a supporter of the president, but also becomes worthy of saying, oh, you're an Istaphobe. It's like, no. If someone says that they want to vote for him and that they have voted for him and that they fully support him, okay. They have their reasons. We're all individuals, as Jonathan said, right? It's the individual person's choice, and it shouldn't be attacked in and of itself. Now, if you're going to be critical of and attack others for it, then yeah, you have the right to have it put back into your face. And as someone that's in the middle on this one, you know what? I don't mind going after either side. Let's see, Gordo at 754 says, what do you think of how Christianity is portrayed in Raised by Wolves or The Boys? Yes, thank you very much, Stephanie B and Tina, for letting them know how to contact me. So I have not seen Raised by Wolves, so I can't speak to that. However, I do know that there's like, what's it called? It's like techno-humanism or something. Transhumanism is going on there. And transhumanism is obviously very problematic from a Catholic perspective. In The Boys, though, it is Christianity being portrayed in a certain way. I don't think it's bad, though, because those elements do exist. So there's the one character who has superpowers, right? Who has, the stretchy arms in the show. And he's a Christian pastor. And he's a part of one of those mega churches. But it's true that a lot of these mega churches that exist are run by corrupt pastors that don't care and just want the money. So I don't mind them calling out stuff like that. It would be nice, though, to see in these shows good, honest Christians being shown. I feel like it's been a long time since we've really seen that, because guess what? There's a lot more good and honest Christians than there are the corrupt ones. See, Blake St. Clair 75 says, I think De Niro is supposedly broke, so it answers a lot of questions for his career lately. An out-of-context comment for something you spoke about half an hour ago. Yes, you're right, because, it's 8:18 where I am right now, and it's 7:55 in the chat, so yeah, about a little over 20 minutes ago. But yeah, you are correct. He had a movie come out recently, and I was like, really? And it was one of those really dumb, straight-to-DVD movies, and it amazes me that he's broke, though. The dude's been in so many films, has gotten so many paydays. What that tells me is that this dude is wasting his money and is not investing it and is not spending it wisely. So you know what? Good. I'm glad he's broke. He also has a bad, really bad case of TDS. Peter Han, what's going on, good sir? He then tagged and says, I had pizza last night in honor of you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope it was delicious. Good. Nitrium in the chat. What's going on, good sir? Have an X13. China is the new mix of Imperial Japan and Nazi Germany. I pray for Taiwan because I heard they're preparing themselves for protection in case China invades them. They kind of need to, right? There's a lot of crazy things going on there right now. And if they're going to be willing to wipe out or try to wipe out people because of their religion, why would they respect borders? They're commies after all. And yeah, that sounds like a pretty accurate mix right there. Nathan Slay says, New Mutants, more like Old Mutants. Yeah, pretty much Old Mutants at this point. But you know what? It did better than I thought it would. Fraz, what's going on? Glad to see you in the chat. Blake St. Clair says it's, let's see, Gyllenhaal, not Gyllenhaal. And the best movie is easily his version of The Bubble Boy. Bubble Boy is a great film, and I thoroughly enjoy him in that film. But no, that's not his best performance. It's definitely him in Nightcrawler. It's definitely him as Bloom in Nightcrawler. Tina B says, Denis Deneuve? Yes. And then Stephanie B comes in with Denis Villeneuve. I love whenever people are like, what did you say? Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve. And no, I will call him Gyllenhaal. I will call him Gyllenhaal, and he will like it, Blake St. Clair. Nathan Slay, what movie confused you the most? In life? Or by Denis Villeneuve? Context is key there. But his most confusing film is Enemy. We're talking about Denis Villeneuve. Harwick says, was there ever a point in time where you liked Movie Bob? He used to be one of my favorite critics until he went off the rails a few years ago. I still think some of his old videos are good. I never watched him, so I really don't have many opinions on him. But isn't he one of the guys that came out and supported cuties? And anyone that does that is a sicko and is not worthy of anyone's time. See, Nitrium says, Anna really took one for the team watching Cuties. I was tempted to watch it myself. I like to form my own opinions, but after listening to that live stream, I'll be steering well clear, just awful. Yeah, I mean, and that's what's interesting is that people are attacking others for not watching it, but having an opinion. It's like, no. If this movie has disturbing and disgusting images of children, then you know what? You don't need to see the movie to be able to call that out. But obviously these critics and these elitists are so caught up in their own bubble that they don't have any self-awareness. They don't realize that what they're supporting is sick because they themselves likely are sick. By the way, Ricky, thank you very much for being an idiot and thinking that I'm a Trump supporter. I love it. He's like, you need to grow up, man. You seriously need to grow up. Says the dude that doesn't even know who I voted for in 2016. You know, it's idiots like you that push me closer to wanting to vote for the guy. I still don't plan to, but seriously, when idiots like you come in and say, boo, you support him, it's like, if you mean, do I support him and that I hope he does a good job? Yeah, he's the president. I did the same thing for Obama. I wanted him to do well. Sadly, he didn't. Sadly, he did a lot of terrible things. And guess what? Trump has not been perfect either. It's ridiculous. I love it. I love the idiots. I love it. FP Sunny, what's going on? All right, let us see here. Evan, you're so funny, dude. So funny. You said a funny word. Good for you. And then also, Ricky's like, you need to grow up, man. Grow up, man. Dude, you're the one spamming. You're spamming on a YouTube chat. Who needs to grow up? Man, you gotta hear me. I'm whining, man. Put the passy back in your mouth, dude. Wham, 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 wham. Ooh, my name's Ricky, and I don't have a life, man. Hardwick at 805. I found Villeneuve's arrival weak. It started out good, but the final twist breaks suspension of disbelief. Plus, it had globalist propaganda elements. I didn't really see the globalist propaganda in there. I mean, just because it deals specifically with global powers coming together to work together doesn't, to me, indicate globalist propaganda. So I think that's a bad take. But the twist, I think that's one where, yeah, subjectively people are going to enjoy it or not. Objectively, it works. Objectively, I wouldn't say it breaks anything. It doesn't break its own rules. It's mostly just do you like the twist or don't you like the twist? Because objectively, the twist does work within the framework of what it sets up, which is why I personally enjoy it. Cobra Viber 999 says, I know you didn't enjoy Eraserhead, but I hope you watched The Elephant Man and The Straight Story by David Lynch. I'm sure you would find those two very satisfying. I doubt it, Cobra. I've seen 2 movies by him, and I didn't like either one. David Lynch loves a lot of David Lynch. He's very, very full. He's very full of himself. All right, we do have another super chat from Jonathan Aldridge. He says, I heard the U.S. government is going to allow Japan to build up its military on a completely independent footing so that NATO can better combat China. If that is the case, that's awesome. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Again, we do need to keep China in check. Because, again, when you have communists running things, it's a problem. Jeremy Swiggs at 06 tagged says, didn't Gina have her own spy movie a while back? If you're talking about Haywire, I mentioned that earlier. If that's the case, I mentioned it. It's good. Bruce is lurking. HyperDex13 says, come on, man. You just don't like Cena because you can't see him. Speaking of wrestling, have you seen Peanut Butter Falcon? It's a very underrated feel-good movie 2019. Dude, Peanut Butter Falcon's great. If you have not seen Peanut Butter Falcon, I recommend it. Again, feel-good movie is the best way to describe it. I'm not going to tell you anything more than that. If you just do a quick search on the trailer, if you don't want to have a good feel-good movie without politics in it, I don't know what else you're looking for in life. Eric K is a member. I'm starting to think Odin does not like Brie as Captain Marvel. Still not sure, but I'm leaning that way. What gave it away? Thenotas Felicitas says, a bad director in an actually good film, Ed Wood, 1994. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Miami Eddie says, China the Wrestler was the original Gina. Difference being that China could never really fight. Gina could fight. So it's a little bit different. Nathan Slay asked the question, and then, of course, the chat jumped on me. So, again, apologies if anyone's comments were skipped. As got a lot of trolls tonight. This is insane. We have 114 people watching. It's amazing how when numbers are here, it's like, man, I'm going to come up and I'm going to put the passy back in. Come on. All right, so where were we left off? So luckily no comments have been skipped, but do please slow down a little bit because we are going to be getting towards the end of the stream. Phonema says, glad to see Disney still hates money. Daniel Thorne, I got that one already. So Daniel Thorne says, if there's no such thing as bad publicity, could Cuties beat out Mulan? No chance in hell because it's on Netflix and it's not really getting theatrical from what I can see. Will Gentry says, that's the thing. Christianity is the white men of religion. It's the one you're allowed to rag on all the time. And you know what? Also, it's the one that when you do rag on it, they're going to turn the other cheek 9 times out of 10. Versus some others where don't really get as much. Daniel Thorne, what is it called when Christian churches in different sectors of the country get told what to speak on? What is it called when Christian churches in different sectors of the country get told? I don't know what that is. Alexander says, don't get too trusting of Gina Carano. I don't trust anyone. I just know that she is a solid actress. And her political opinions and anything she says is not going to change that. Daniel Thorne, vote Harambe, he says. Cam Dean High says, hey, just getting here. Was out to dinner for my birthday. You're probably you're getting close to the end. Just want to say, hey, well, happy birthday, Dean Heiss. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a wonderful birthday dinner. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Dean Heiss. Appreciate you being here. Happy birthday. Nathan Slade 808, though, says, have you seen Captain America 1990? I have not. Isn't that the one where it looks cheesy? And that's not my cup of tea. I don't like those kind of movies. 13th Warrior 809. In older Hollywood movies were directors a medium. Nowadays, they're equally a producer's medium. This is true. This is very true. James Dash J says, favorite Harrison Ford movie? Probably Raiders of the Lost Ark. Off the top of my head. Harwick says, if Gina Carano were to play any Marvel character, it should be She-Hulk with Angie Harmon as her alter ego, Jennifer Walters. I think Gina Carano could play both. I think she could play both. Costuming, effects. I think she could play both. She definitely has the body type more so for She-Hulk, that's for sure. But you know what? Let her be Captain Marvel. Why not? Better than Brie Larson. Brian Barth tagged and says, what do you think of Marlon Brando? Brilliant actor. On the Waterfront might be my favorite Brando performance. Some would say, wouldn't it be Godfather? You sure it's not Godfather? No, On the Waterfront. I love that film. Nitrium says, I'm 30 minutes behind the stream, but catching up at 1.5 speed. You madman. Listening to me on 1.5 speed? That's insanity. Says, I never even saw the animated Mulan, so don't have the compared to the original baggage, but the live action remake was objectively not good. No, again, objectively speaking, it was not good. Normally I can say, and recognize when I have various biases that affect my opinion of a movie. But in that instance, no, it's objectively not well written. And the character does not make sense. Again, the character receives no training. She is essentially a deus ex machina in person. She is the very definition of a Mary Sue. And last time I checked, chi is not a superpower. Oh, Lord. Lord. Play St. Clair. Didn't they say it needs roughly $300 million box office to break even for Mulan. No. So Mulan cost around $300 million. So normally how it goes, production budget on the film was $200 million. Normally about half of that, so half of $200 million is what? $100 million. You add that on top of the production budget, which brings it up to $300 million. That's about what they spent all together, marketing and production. Typically, movies in a usual year, that movie would probably have to make around, in a normal year, would have to make $500 to $550 million to break even, around that number. Because in a typical year, the box office numbers that it gets in, the studio only gets around 60% of the number. So if you take 60% of $500 million, you get roughly around $300 million, right? So again, give or take. And so, yeah, the film technically would have to make $500 million to break even. However, if the film was making $300 million on Disney Plus, it's not going to. But if it did, that's essentially raw profit. So it's not splitting that money at all. And so at that point, if that was the case, it would make its money back because it spent $300 million and it got $300 million back in raw profit. But because of the state where it's not doing well in Disney Plus comparatively, and it's not making any money in China where it was supposed to make bank, and it's only getting a certain percentage of that China market, and it's not going to make money really anywhere else, it's likely going to be a huge financial loss for Disney. So hopefully that makes sense. HyperX13 says, we need another Mongol empire to discipline these commies. Let's see. Solon? Let's see. Sola Num Tinker says, you were asking about preserving films. Would you think Event Horizon might be a candidate? I hear the original cinema hard copy may be lost. Let me see. Event Horizon. Yeah, I would say it's only available on Sling TV. Not very high ratings all around, but I'm sure that it might be one of those fan favorites. Paul W.S. Anderson, I've never been a huge fan of his. Don't hate his movies. But I'll look into it. Because if that one's a hard one to find, then yeah, absolutely. That would be one that I would be willing to look into. Miami Yeti at 816, Rock and Roll High School and Rock and Roll High School Forever, Corey Feldman. Miami Yeti, thank you. Tran, you think you're funny. Enjoy the Wrath of the Valkyries. Tina B says, any comments that Tenet with a black lead is succeeding in China despite their obvious prejudices? That is interesting. It is, right? Because usually that's the mindset. But remember, Black Panther actually made money in China too. So it's interesting how you hear that often, and yet the narrative doesn't really support that. Because if the movie is good or if the movie is entertaining, guess what? Doesn't really matter who the lead is. People are going to go see it. Oh, Ricky's back. Oh, Ricky. I hope you enjoy that passy. Miami A says, what about Fat Man coming out in December? Fat Man? What? Oh, man. Dude, Ricky, just because someone supports Trump doesn't make them an ist. You're an idiot. Ricky, you are an idiot. You are the person that you claim to hate. You are the mindless drone. Wake up. You are the one who needs to wake the hell up. By the way, if you could wake up Biden too, it might help you out. Because I don't think the dude's alive. Oh, idiots. Jeremy Swiggs, Gyllenhaal was good in October Sky. I've never actually seen October Sky. Bruce says, Bubble Boy was an awesomely funny movie. It was fantastic, Bruce. HyperX13, who uses Hans Zimmer better, Denis Villeneuve or Nolan? Jake, they both be fighting over him. Yeah, well, I'm about to say, Hans Zimmer, did he do Blade Runner 2049? If he did, it was a pretty good score. But Hans Zimmer's done more work with Nolan, and so I'd say Nolan has the edge right now. Tina says, yes, Movie Bob did indeed support the piece of trash film known as Cuties. Yep. And that's why he's disgusting. That's why I know. So Ricky, you come into my chat. You've never been here before. You know nothing about me. You claim to know something about me, but you obviously don't. And then you are yelling at me back saying, stop yelling at me. I apologize. Oh, Passy. Get that passy back in your mouth, baby. Please. If you were here, you would know I fall 20 to 30 minutes behind in the chat. So I don't see the chat live, which is why my Valks are able to drop the hammer on idiots like you. Let's see. Nathan Slay. If people are going to attack me for not watching the movie, they can go right ahead. Come at me. I don't care at all. I will stand my ground against garbage movie. Nathan Slay, exactly right. If you have a movie that features some really disgusting images of children, you don't need to see the movie to know that's bad. That would be like saying, you know, Hitler might have killed a certain group of people, but I need to listen to his speeches just to make sure. It's like, no, you can look to what they're doing and you can see that it's bad. You can see that it's evil. There's no need for you to dive in any deeper into it. Renegade Spire 2099. Did you see the South Park trailer for the 1 hour pandemic special on September 30th? I'm so excited. Also, the most recent episode of The Boys was great. So yeah, I'm enjoying The Boys right now. It's got some ups and downs, but I'm enjoying it for the most part. No, I have not. Dude, I need to see it. Dude, South Park needs to come back right now. Now is the perfect time for that. Let's see, Orange Hat says, Odin the Slayer of Trolls, fear him. No, it's the Valkyrie that are the Slayers of Trolls. Oh, Ricky. Oh no. I criticized Obama. That means I'm an ist. Oh, Ricky, your TDS is showing, man. You need help. You need psychological help. You need serious psychological help. Ooh, I'm critical of someone, and that means I must hate them because of their race. No, Ricky, you're an idiot. By the way, did you know that the candidate you're supporting also supported busing? Yet I'm the ist. Oh, by the way, did you remember that your vice presidential candidate, by the way, was, actively fighting against Biden and literally called him a sexist, called him a racist in the debates? And then when she was challenged on that by Stephen Colbert, kudos to Stephen for doing it, but he didn't follow up with it. You know what her excuse was? It was a debate. It was a debate. It was true, but it was a debate. Yeah, good job, Ricky. Good job. Good job. You're a smart fella. You're a smart fella right there. Oh, you're a smart fella. Oh, I love when idiots come into the chat. Oh, man. They're so stupid. So stupid. And by the way, that's not a shout at anyone who supports Biden. It's when you come in like that and act like a complete idiot that you get called out. And Ricky, I do. You're not invited. You're not invited in there, good sir. Ass hats are not allowed in. All right. Orange Chat Review says, okay, can one of the Valks boot this Ricky guy? Nope. I'm fine with him just being timed out every now and then. I'm enjoying it. Hybrid XC says, Wonder and Peanut Butter Falcon are the movies we need today. We need more of them. Dude, Wonder, yes. Talk about a feel-good movie. Wonder is fantastic. Thirsty the Warrior says, you're a big meanie. Oh, I'm sorry. Dark Shadow Lagan says, I can see Odin now eating a piece of pepperoni pizza in one hand and putting a pacifier in Troll's mouth in the other. Yeah. Someone create that meme. Pizza in one hand and a passy in the other going into Ricky's mouth. Soul Assassin says, you don't trust me, but I trust you. Well, thank you, Soul Assassin. Gordo Bonnet says, what's the film you're most looking forward to in 2020? It doesn't exist anymore. There really aren't a whole lot of films, to be honest. I guess Dune, but I don't think Dune's going to be coming out in 2020 anymore. So this answer has changed so many times because so many movies have been moved out of 2020. Stephanie B says, I have to leave early to pick up my nephews later. Garrett, have fun, Stephanie B. We're getting close to the end. Bruce Stella. Yes, Streetcar. Streetcar's a great film. Modalicious. What's going on, Modalicious? Someone that's, I know, I hear that name a lot in Gary's channel. Modalicious, welcome. Live action Lady and the Tramp is garbage. All Disney live action is garbage. I've not seen the so-called live action Lady and the Tramp, right? It's all CG, so it's like, really? Live action? But it's CG. I don't know. But I will say, Cinderella, live action. Not terrible. Not complete trash. Completely unnecessary. Not terrible. Hybrid X13, Odin, please sing this line on the floor. This line on the floor. Harambe, Harambe, you found me song. You found me song, Harambe version. I don't know the tune to that, so I can't say one or the other. Lord Toast says, dinner was good, not pineapple on pizza. My grandmother's Scottish recipe. Ooh, that does sound good. welcome back. Right at the end, where Lord Toth then says, I love cooking and my grandmother's recipes are amazing. Always gotta love the grandmother's cooking. Hardwick says, I recently watched a documentary that shows some convincing evidence that among other companies, Google and YouTube are intentionally secretly aiding the Fredos. Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me. Miami says, Fat Man and Mel Gibson playing Santa Claus who gets hit on him from a boy who he left a lump of coal to on a stock in dark comedy. That sounds fun. I like me some Mel Gibson. Tina B says, he's back. Ricky says, sorry for trolling. Figured to give you this entertainment. So are you real? I don't know. But anyway, he says, I've watched your videos since Alita. Well, if you're being genuine, okay, thanks. Alita's great, by the way. Hashtag Alita sequel. Hardwick says, Gary just released his reaction to the Mandalorian trailer a few minutes ago. Nice. I think it's a pretty solid trailer. Still got a ways to go, but it's pretty solid. My favorite part, obviously, was when we saw Gina Carano's character come out. And I have a soft spot for Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's awesome. HyperX13 says, let the hate flow through you. Visor Matt, what's going on? Nathan Slay, there needs to be a movie about cows mowing a lawn. It could be called Mulan. Ba-doom-tsh. Oh, lordy. Nitrium at 839 says, Odin, a straight story is so un-Lynchian you wouldn't believe it. I have never met someone who didn't like a straight story. It's a great feel-good movie about an old dude driving a ride-on mower. Wait, what? A straight story? Is that a Lynch movie? I don't know. I don't trust Lynch. Nathan Slay, apparently Tom Cruise enjoyed Tenet. Good for him. that doesn't really go where I go, but anyway. Drake Tafoya, welcome to the chat. Brian Barr says, which director do you hate the most and director that you like the most, and explain why? Hate the most, I'm stuck between, at this point, David Lynch, because his movies are bizarre for the sake of being bizarre, and I don't think really add much to anything. And I'm trying to get hate for that. But in all honesty, the ones that I can't stand would be people like Ava DuVernay and Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig, simply because I'm annoyed by her presence. Everything she does in any movie is just annoying. And then Ava DuVernay, it's because she allows politics to drive everything she does. And that's the reason why A Wrinkle in Time sucked, was because she allowed her identity politics to cloud the whole meaning behind the movie. She literally stripped out any remnants of Christianity, which, by the way, the story is basically very much based in Christianity because the writer herself was Christian and had Christian allegory in her story. All that was stripped out of the movie, which is why the movie sucked. Because all she did was race swap a bunch of characters and focus on identity politics and then took the whole meaning of the story out. How can it possibly be good? Vidal, who are you? I'm Batman. I'm Batman? Is that the answer you're looking for? I don't know. HyperX13, why do you have who do you have the most beef with, Zack Snyder or David Lynch? More so Lynch. I mean, Zack Snyder films drive me crazy, but Lynch films make me angry. The two that I've actually seen. And then also, Brian Barth gets into the director I like the most right now, Denis Villeneuve. And the reason why is because he has not made a bad movie yet. He has not made a movie that I didn't like or love. And the only film that I've only liked and not loved was Enemy. HyperX13, who do you have? Okay, that one already. Got that one already. Nathan Slay says, really? No hate for Spike Lee? I mean, here's the thing. Spike Lee is a good filmmaker. Spike Lee is a competent filmmaker. But he does allow politics to drive his narrative. And so, different than Ava DuVernay. Ava DuVernay is a terrible director who lets politics drive her films. Like, dude, trust me. If you were to watch 95% of BlacKkKlansman done by Spike Lee, it's a great movie. It's funny. It's entertaining. And then the last 5 minutes, he has a nonstop montage trying to connect it to Trump. And it's like, dude, you had a great story, a great message, and then you put in 2020 politics, and no one wanted that. No one was asking, and that, not even 2020, it was like 2016 politics at that time, and no one wanted it. So Spike Lee is a good filmmaker. He just is stupid in real life. Harvey says the straight story was indeed pretty good. It's not weird at all. If one didn't know, there would be no way of guessing it's a Lynch movie. I I beg to differ. Bruce says Anna couldn't contain herself during the trailer thanks to Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's adorable. Baby Yoda's adorable. All right, we're getting close to the end, so please slow down. Hardwick, you also Mike Lynch's Elephant Man. It's a very sad story, but not weird like it was of the movies. Again, I have my doots. And all I say is because of the two movies that I have seen, I have not liked. So, Phonemo says, if The Lion King is considered, going to D-Live for a second, if The Lion King is considered live action, then does that mean Avatar is also live action? Yeah, would have to be. Phonemo then says, what do you think of the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer? I think it's solid. I'm very much excited for it. I think that it could be good. But obviously, I still hold my reservations. Because the first season was meh. It was a C season. There were some really good episodes. There were some really bad episodes. So overall, it was an average season. Now, many people think it was better than average because compared to Disney Star Wars that we've gotten recently and we've gotten in the movies, right, it was Shakespeare in comparison. But if you were to take it in isolation and you were to block out everything else, it's an average show. So I have a lot of hopes. But obviously, those need to actually be proven. So, and congratulations, Captain Dean Heiss, and shout out to Captain Adam for gifting him a sub as well. That's awesome. All right, and then Late Slay says, Disney, what do you mean Lion King remake is live action? We got actor lions. Now, see, that would just be cool. I wish. And Kigo Rogers, welcome to the chat. Anyway, that is going to be it for me this evening. Thank you very much for a very lively discussion, very lively chat. This has been awesome. We've had well over 100 people for the vast majority of the stream. So seriously, thank you so much for the support. And please smash that like button before you leave here today. Next stream is set to be on Saturday. And also, plan, if you are a Geeks and Gamers premium subscriber, plan to be ready to watch a movie 9 a.m. Eastern this Saturday morning. Don't know what the movie is yet. We're still trying to work out all the details with it, but the plan is we'll do a movie watch party. So watch a movie with Odin. That's right. I have an alleged movie blog, and I allegedly watch movies. So 9 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday morning is when we plan to do that. So again, if you are a Geeks and Gamers premium member, that will be an option for you. So something to consider. But let me shout out my Army of Asgard and Keeper of the Bifrost members before I go. Bruce, Andrew Hoyle, Eric K, Orange Chat Reviews, Adam Avery, Latino Slant, The Bosco 2000, Twirly Wolf, Jay Stowe, and Aiden Vickery. Thank you very much for being members on the channel. D-Live fam, y'all stick around. I'll take care of y'all like I normally do. And also, by the way, D-Live, did y'all donate tonight? Or was that just that may have just been the gift subscription. Yeah, that was the gift. I just want to make sure. Yeah, no one donated over there. So good. Don't worry about donating. Y'all are good. But anyway, YouTube fam, thank you very much for being here. Smash that like button on the way out. Please also send some love and some thanks over to Tina, who is still in the chat. Of course, much love to Stephanie for being here for a big part of the stream as well. But seriously, you guys are freaking awesome. Tina then says, make Odin watch a Costner baseball movie. Yeah, so if you're a premium member, we're going to try and I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to get y'all to vote, because y'all will get to vote on the movie, but it's going to be difficult trying to get y'all to nominate movies and then collect them into a poll. I'm going to have to start getting up. I have tomorrow off, and so I'll have some time to try and get that stuff figured out with Jeremy and Krista and with the entire team. So be on the lookout for that if you are, again, a premium member on Geeks and Gamers, though, because we're trying to add more and more content for y'all to enjoy. Orange Reviews 847 says, Bouncy Allfather, another great stream. Odin, have a great night. You too, Kiko Rogers. He sees my handle, and it's game over, man. Game over. Kiko Rogers, no. You just came in at the end, man. Sorry. Or at least I didn't see it till the end. Eric K., you take care as well. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And thank you again for being awesome and amazing, beautiful people. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for being awesome. And by the way, Kiko Rogers, no notification, no excuse. It's always the same time, same channel, same place. Every week, Saturdays and Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern time, all the time. But that's okay. YouTube does suck. I will give you that much. So anyway, you guys are amazing, beautiful people. Have a wonderful evening. And as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to all of my September Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toone, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Camille, Lady T, Laura the Modern Major General Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Outpost Dyer, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B. Thank you very much for being my supporters over on Patreon. And to my Subscribe Star members, stand for John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888-209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadon G. Adams, and the K-Man. Thank you so very much for being my supporters over on Subscribestar, and a shout out to all of my supporters on both platforms. If you yourself want to get your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, please consider joining on Patreon or Subscribestar. You can also get access to exclusive giveaways, to an exclusive podcast that I do twice a month with my friend John the Flick Pig Flickinger, where we talk about just random stuff going on in the movies, our reviews, and also we take Q&A questions from everyone as well in those categories. So if you would like to have any of those things or access to them, or even the biggest of them all, to be one of my chosen of Valhalla and get a t-shirt during your first month, and also have access to be featured on the channel once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, please consider checking that out in the links in the description below. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.